Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Final Fantasy VII Remake Commentary, where it is leg day.
Yeah, I have to say, a motorcycle drove past me as we were looking at the motorcycle, and I got really fucking scared for a second. The game was coming to life, getting ready to assault me.
Oh, there's your annual Some Call Me Johnny Final Fantasy VII fanfiction prompt, guys. Get
Damn
started.
right.
There's one every year?
It's going to be
What?
so great when it's done in 30 years. It's taken me so long to get to this part. And this chapter of the fanfic is going to be amazing. It's going to be like 3-4 chapters, and they went up, and they went up, and they went up, and they went up.
Describe every single stair.
Yeah, every single individual stair.
A small
That means
piece
you're gonna have to
of
play-
chewing gum sticked out from underneath the third rung on the 5th floor. It was slightly wet still, meaning a Shinra
Tifa
guard
called
had only
Barrett
just put
a
it
word
there.
again. I don't think I'm allowed to say it.
Maybe we should take a quick break.
Come on, Barrett.
You know, you see what I'm trying to do here, right? I'm trying to go along...
Cover every corner.
Yeah, I'm trying to go along the inside ring, see if it's possible to win this.
Stairs percent
No, I don't
trying to
think
beat Tifa.
I don't think it's possible to beat Tifa.
No matter what you try, Tifa's always going to be a couple floors ahead of you, and Barrett, like, toward the end, he does sort of catch up to you, but then he starts to lag behind again.
Okay, I need to know, if you're speedrunning Final Fantasy VII, is it faster to take the stairs or the elevator?
It's faster to
Faster
take
to
the
take the stairs.
elevator.
No, it's faster to take the stairs.
While you're skipping cutscenes.
It's because you're not fighting battles, basically. Yeah.
Well, on the original 7 or this?
OG7.
Yeah, I'll say OG7, sure. Here, probably faster to use the elevator.
Maybe.
Good to know.
I don't know. I would have to see how long that takes.
Cloud, keep an eye out
Is there anything related? Is there like a trophy related in the remake to fast completion time? I don't remember there being.
No, I
one.
don't think there is.
I don't think...
I am curious, though, if, considering you do have to set off certain flags, for the game to, play certain cutscenes and dialogue and stuff, I'm curious if Square has any way to track what percentage of people chose what and what that disparity is. Because I imagine most people chose the stairs.
I'm pretty sure it does, but whether they decide to make that public.
I mean, they have no reason to. But
Well,
I'm
that's
curious.
why
Yeah.
they have that little, can we share your data so that we have your social security number? I mean, so that we can better improve your play experience.
Hey, guys.
Wait, what was that last part? You kind of mumbled
So
in
we
that
can
one.
better improve your play experience and nothing else.
Improve. Points for genuine
Yeah.
English.
You're hiding something.
It would be cool, yes, if they did a Resident Evil 2 remake kind of public analytics website where we could see the percentage of people who stared at the mayor's corpse on the table, mayor's daughter's corpse even. But
I would.
yeah, unfortunately, I don't really see Square as the type to do that.
I'm pretty sure they do for some things, but again, they're discreet on those details.
Well, I mean, like...
Something for the Eternal Company, and not so
Oh
much
yeah,
for
I mean like
public
for
eye.
for random facts that
Right.
that only the players would really care about. Like, do you think like any like internal developer decision making would be guided by the number of people who triggered the roaches in the morgue? So yeah.
An alarmingly high number of people only went for the 100 gil masturbation effort from that.
The thing about that, though, with Resident Evil 2 Remake is that they almost certainly had to, they had to deliberately program in checks within the game that checked all these random things that they thought would be amusing to have a statistic on the website for. So they went well above and beyond the usual in-game data sharing analytics stuff because
Well, the part of that is going to be, they can look at those numbers and say, here's what players did a lot of.
but like
So maybe incorporate that into the next
but like
game,
with most games they do that to check like basic stuff. Like in Mass Effect they have a percentage of people who chose the female shepherd or people who chose the male shepherd, and statistically the male shepherd is the most commonly chosen. So that kind of stuff directs decision making. But
Do you happen to know the percentage?
It's something like... Last time I checked, which was years and years and years ago, I think it was like 17% chose female shepherd or something like that.
17? Ooh,
17,
okay.
yeah. It was like it was a pretty damn low percentage.
Okay.
The kind of number that you understand why they didn't pay attention to female shepherd in marketing before 3, but like Capcom with Resident Evil 2 Remake had an absurd number of checks in their programming for an absurd number of increasingly irrelevant things that no one in the decision-making team would think to care about, which makes me think that most of their analytics was deliberately programmed just for the website.
I mean, you can never be too sure. If you find that a lot of people are, do the whole pulling the cockroaches thing out in the morgue and they get a little jump out of that, you might incorporate 1 or 2 more of those in any future game.
Yeah, but there's an easier way to check that stuff than programming in analytics. You can watch the live streams.
Well, it's probably easier to program that kind of idea first, and then you can more easily put something like that in future games.
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, I'm not a programming wizard, so I wouldn't know how that works, but you never know.
By the way, is this the conversation the guys are having as they're climbing the stairs for the record? I just wanted to ask
why
that.
not?
It's the conversation we would have while we were climbing the stairs.
But you ever think Capcom
Down all those stairs you
secretly takes survey data from its consumers about if they watch the mayor's daughter?
Please stop talking. Please stop
Look, I'm just
talking.
saying the Smash Ballot is not an actual information based on polls everywhere else.
Barrett, please shut up.
Spirits are a deconvention. What? What was that? It's like you couldn't even finish that last word, Barrett.
Barrett's stair climbing song. We're almost there.
I got my favorite detail about this is the music just starts losing its shit as you're getting closer to the last floor. Also, there's no point of the floor meter on the bottom right. It's just for Tifa to flex.
Well, she is the most well-rounded in her physical training out of the bunch.
Cloud just hands her the Buster Sword and says, "Okay, you try it."
If it was magnetically attached to his back, I wonder how much harder it would really make it. Like having,
A
it's
lot,
like, I
because
guess
it's
it would
putting
be
more-
like
it's
wearing a
putting more weight on
backpack
your
at
spine.
that point. So
Yeah. An extremely heavy metal one, yes, but
The one thing that always made me nervous about having it attached to your back like that all exposed is just like your left arm rubbing against the sharp edge.
wait, hold on a moment. This is Final Fantasy. We can do 35-story jumps in the air and hover there for about a half an hour. Why did we even take the stairs?
that was because this is 60 floors, not 35.
We could jump up halfway.
Not until we reached level 150 in Advent Children.
Gotta conserve your energy. We don't know how long we're gonna be here.
In Advent Children, they could have just run up the side of the building.
Cooling to reduce temperature.
Well, Yuffie could anyway. No,
Oh.
not everybody could.
All that reminds me is of, I think it's Project Cross Zone 2, where it's Phoenix writing a bunch of characters, and they're trying to climb, the super tall evil castle or whatever. It's like, how the hell are we supposed to get up there? Strider Ryu's like, I can just run up the wall at 0. I can just wall jump up. It's like, okay, how about for us normal people? Kazuya Mishima's a simple climb. Ryu's like, I've done worse. How about for us normal people who don't work out 8 hours a day?
Project Cross Zone 2 is not a great game, but it's got great dialogue. Namely, if you've got Axel from Streets of Rage and X and Zero are like, so what do you use for weapons? Oh, I'm pretty good with a 2x4 or a lead pipe. We mean weapons and not garbage.
Now, this scene interests me, actually, because it seems like the first setup in the remake series for Scarlet deliberately trying to develop large materia, huge materia, rather. Big, huge materia. The kind of materia that makes her turn her nose up at a perfectly good summon.
It's not huge materia. This is just materia that summons something huge.
I've heard of a size queen, but this is ridiculous.
I mean, I think that's totally what they're going for here.
clean
What?
up the mess, would you?
I'll tell you when you're older.
That's just one I've never heard before. And that kind of vaguely terrifies me, because if it's one I've never heard before, I'm a little worried about what it means.
What would a woman be concerned about with size regarding relationships?
Especially
Well, I
regarding
can think of
Vault
two
that
things.
he's interested in.
I can think of two things, but you know.
I can't say that on YouTube.
Anyway, this is a neat little scene where we just stop and take in the view. And Barrett starts talking about the ignorance of the civilian population.
You know, it's a good thing it's dark outside, or you'd totally be able to tell it's a map painting.
You would.
Every little light burning bright runs off her blood.
Actually, because it's so dark and the only things that they need to show are the lights, they could probably have gotten away with a slightly higher res image because there's less image data to show. But because it's lights, if it's a little blurry, it makes sense because it's lights. It doesn't have to be like sharp and crisp in detail. I do like how Barrett backpedals very slightly at the end there because he realized he might have brought the mood down in a situation where you don't necessarily want to
They're
be.
already at Shinra HQ. The mood is not chipper in the first place.
I would have liked it if on the first time they're here, you know, they go if you take you don't take the elevator, they go right to that scene. But if you take the stairs, the first thing they do is just go right for the vending machine.
Hello, Avina. Tell me about the Krogan rebellions.
Welcome to the Grand Tour, Grand Tour, Grand Tour.
Oh, we're turning this right off.
So this hologram reminds me so goddamn much of the one from the Mass Effect series. Possibly because I was just playing Andromeda the other day, and that stupid hologram reappears there. But, like, it even has, like, the same voice, or something close to it.
Big pain in the ass.
I don't know about you, but this is kind of weird.
You think everything's going too well?
It is going too well,
Yeah,
Cloud.
I do.
We climbed 59 floors. They didn't stop us.
It's interesting that they talk about this because there are several changes made to the infiltration of the Shinra Tower sequence in Remake that generally move to make the Shinra Tower make more sense. Because, like, in the original game, it was so easy for them to get into the tower that in some fan fiction, it even sparks a Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone style debate that like, the entire thing was too goddamn easy for what it was, so it must have been intentional. But, like, here they just...
Wait, what part in the first Harry Potter was supposed to be too easy to get in?
Getting to the Philosopher's Stone itself. There's
That thing was guarded by, like, a giant dog with 3 heads and murderous chess pieces and other garbage.
Yeah, but a trio of 11-year-olds who have very little experience managed to do it. You think a big, fancy, actually trained wizards couldn't?
Guys, you're giving Reeve a headache.
Without spending too much time on it, it's more of a comparison to the later books and how they portray magical security. So, like, when you look at the big picture of the series, the plot hole is it really seems like Dumbledore made the security easy on purpose so that Harry could get through it. But like,
not oh god, okay, never mind.
Well,
I'm not going there.
Voldemort did get through it, so that
Yeah,
point
but it's
is
just
moot.
like, wouldn't you want to make it, like, good, so Voldemort.
It plays into the manipulative Dumbledore fanfiction trope where everyone thinks
Oh, right, okay.
Dumbledore is an asshole trying to groom Harry into some sort of self-sacrificial hero. But, like,
You don't need fan fiction for that.
well, sort of. Dumbledore was trying to manipulate Harry into saving his own life because there was no way to do that with Harry knowing what was going on. But it's stupid plot twist stuff. Anyway, so we completely skated over Reeve and his, typically very reliable assistant who, like, is the one trustworthy person in the entire Shinra headquarters.
But you were also asking whether or not Square secretly collects data, and we just got a POV of that, and the Square HQ guy looks like the Monopoly dude.
But, like, yeah, as I was saying, they made several changes to make the infiltration into Shinra headquarters just generally make more sense. One of the changes was that the random-ass floor with the giant Shinra city model became sort of, rather than just a random floor with treasure chests and a model in the middle of it that you had to assemble, has become sort of a tourist attraction, which may have been its intended function in the original game, for all I know, but the environmental storytelling in Shinra Tower was pretty much non-existent there, so... We don't know. Putting it bluntly.
All right. So because I did not know that what the story was going with at this point with the Whispers, a part of me, just for a fraction of a second, thought the Whispers were going to come into this room and possess the golden Shinra statue in the boss battle time.
That
would have been funny, but I'm disappointed you did not show Shinra from 10-2 in the picture.
I mean, don't the Whispers want them to be here though, so that the events of the game play out like the original?
Yeah. But I didn't exactly fully understand their purpose at that point.
Shinra smash.
Shinra gold.
The actual in-game explanation for what the Whispers are doesn't come until you talk with Aerith. Aerith explains it after Cloud passes out, and they all wake up in her room in Hojo's lab. So, after part, 7 parts from now.
Why is Reeve's symbol a heart?
Well, they all have
because he's
different
the
symbols.
good guy.
Yeah, basically.
Was it a heart?
Yes.
Kinda.
Oh.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a heart.
Yeah, it's a really square heart.
And and who's its face? Scarlet's is like a box going around her crotch.
So what you're saying is when they pull their powers combined, they summon President Shinra. Captain Shinra.
Anti-Captain Planet. Okay.
He is the Ted Turner of this universe.
That reminds me of something really dumb, though. This is an Amazon review thing. I was looking up, DC superhero action figures, right? And they were, I got to the Supergirl one based on her new 52 design. And I scrolled down into the Amazon reviews, which is always a mistake, by the way. And some angry mouth-frothing parent was like, why does she have a heart over her crotch? It's not a heart. It's like the usual superhero brief thing, yeah. But it was squarish and had a V shape at one place over the belt buckle. So I guess he saw it as a heart. And he went on and on about how this was inappropriate for children, and I'm just like, really? Okay.
Yeah, because all comic books are for kids.
Yes, the holographic presentations. I love these things. The ones for Scarlet and Heidegger are out of service because presumably those two haven't gotten around to them.
I guess Palmer was busted because he was half in the floor.
They're all half in the floor. You see?
They're lacking. They're just Fire Emblem characters.
Hojo is shin deep, but Palmer was almost up to his gut.
Palmer's just really short, so it looks worse with him. But he is partly down.
I just like to think people don't give a fuck about Palmer.
They don't give a fuck about Palmer. My favorite thing is he actually sees Sephiroth. Sephiroth appears before Palmer as a sort of taunt, I guess, because he remembers Palmer was the guy who saw him last time. And so
Sup, Palmer?
So Palmer's trying to warn everybody that he saw Sephiroth and no one believes him.
Just imagine him walking down the hall. He's sup my man.
Palmer had too much lard in his tea.
But
again.
it's okay, Heidegger and Scarlet clearly haven't gotten around to delivering their presentations. Palmer just doesn't know how to give one, and Hojo doesn't give a shit. But Reeve over here, Reeve gives the most professional presentation you could ever ask for. He's a credit to the company. No one here appreciates the only good manager on their managing team.
Maybe if I work hard, if I never take any sick or vacation days, if I go above and beyond, Shinra will notice and appreciate me.
Maybe they'll give me a little more respect if I raise the minimum wage. Oh, but I'll be damned if I do that.
To be a smidge fair, Ted, he is one of the top 5 executives in the company.
Yeah, but they very clearly don't give him as important crap to do as the other jack-offs.
Well, no, I'd say he has more. I'd say they give him more to do than Palmer does.
Well, he's urban planning and development, so he's in charge of
building the city.
Of the city. He's probably even the person who's doing the bulk of the planning for Neo Midgar, because Neo Midgar, the presentation for that is over in his section. But the actual Shinra executives are very military-minded. Shinra and Heidegger worked in the war together, and Scarlet is weapons development.
Hojo does all the military bio-research crap.
Palmer is really more of a hanger-on because he was in charge of the space program that they later decommissioned.
Isn't he somewhat related to Shinra, and that's the only reason he's around?
Yeah.
I have no idea
I
what
know I
Palmer's
heard,
relation is to the company.
I know I heard that somewhere, but I can't remember where.
I think so. But, like...
It's like, what does Palmer do before they decide to revitalize the space program? Nothing. He just drinks tea.
Basically. So yeah, they certainly give Reeve more to do than Palmer, if nothing else.
Well, Reeve has stuff to do around the clock because maintaining a city, surprise, surprise, is a full-time job, and then some.
I think it's more that they respect what he's capable of doing. They just don't like his attitude.
Well, yeah, Heidegger makes a crack about Reeve being a coward, because Reeve displays, heaven forbid, a conscience. Also, I like this shot, how they go around activating each reactor one by one before zooming.
Hey, this thing's not accurate. The first one should be blown up.
The shot where it swerves around the town, activating the reactors one by one, is reminiscent of the scene from the original game later on in the story, where they do that before activating the Mako cannon.
We got a little miniature diamond weapon on the right there. Little doll Rufus on the top.
No, President Shinra, I wasn't seeing you playing with your dolls again.
Interesting thing about the model here, though, is that in the original game, the model showed that Sector 6 was a wreck. And it was like the only place in the original game where you got like full establishment of the fact that Sector 6 was a wreck. Because when you travel through Sector 6 in person, yeah, there's a lot of wreckage down in the slums, but you don't really get context for it. And because the slums are all garbage piles, you might not even think to see that as unique. But yeah, Sector 6 in the original game was a wreck. It's just that this was the only room where that was confirmed. Alright. And up we go to the virtual reality CGI FMV room.
Now, moving along.
Yay.
About our progress in advanced science and technology.
I was so fascinated with this this visit to Shinra HQ just as a fellow Final Fantasy VII fan of the original. I do wonder what newbies thought of this whole sequence, because this is a really big lull
It is
between
kind
humongous
of a
battle
plot
sequences.
dump, yes.
I don't necessarily call it a plot dump, but this is the first time for newbies and returning people that we get a really close-up view of how Shinra presents itself to the public. We didn't really get that in the original game. We had enough information to sort of extrapolate how they might portray themselves to the public, but one of the cool things that Remake does is it shows us, it directly shows us the propaganda. So we get an up-close and personal view of how the public views Shinra. Also, you gotta love that.
Good CG time.
You gotta love the way they just ripped this entire sequence out of Final Fantasy X. You remember Seymour's stupid the virtual reality sphere FMV sequence with the Xanarkand and all? It was pretty much exactly
old
this.
school Final Fantasy
Louis,
airships.
you're connecting the dots, man, because Shinra's office had the Shinra cameo from 10-2. And Shinra in that game mentioned something of the life stream beneath the planet's surface, but it'll take generations, if not eons, before they can harness that sort of power.
Ah, yes.
And now they have, and they're ripping off Seymour.
I mean, I wouldn't... that would be an interesting connection to make on more than one level, because, if you think about it, Red 13 could be, an evolved form of Ronso or something.
Is it evolved? Because it kind of went back on his hind legs.
Oh, well, who's saying that's backwards?
I am.
Catch this Pokemon on
Well,
bacteria.
John, you're human. You've got two-legged bias, okay? Maybe there's an
Yes.
advantage to having four legs. And
I'm pretty sure the Ronso also have two-legged bias. I like two legs. I could use the other arms for spears and blue magic.
You're using blue magic? That waste of time? Okay. All right, John.
What? Who said that?
I didn't.
Sounds like someone isn't using
In
blue
Final
magic.
Fantasy X, it really is
Because
a
I've got a
waste of
life.
time, though. Like,
In
it's
almost every Final Fantasy, it's a waste of
well,
time.
no, I mean, like in most
What?
Final Fantasies, you can at least use it freely, and you can at least get a couple decent ones. But in Final Fantasy 8 and 10, particularly, blue magic it's relegated to limit break and overdrive status, which means you can only use it when your meter fills up. And in Final Fantasy X, your meter fills up goddamn slow. And then
Why bother in Final Fantasy VI learning all this blue magic for Who's Its Face when everybody learns every magic spell in the game anyway?
I know you conveniently skipped over 5, which had the best blue magic.
Yeah, because guess what, John? Everybody else conveniently skipped over 5.
What? That's just part of the issue. Ted.
I love this sequence though because getting like all right the
Oh no, the future is run by Apple.
the major like looks we get at Neo Midgar are especially interesting to me because that was something that was mentioned offhand in the original game but then dropped like almost immediately because President Shinra dies 5 minutes later. But Shinra's plan to create a second, even better Midgar with blackjack and hookers, that was a thing that existed in the original game, and having like a visual idea of where their plans were going, and the fact that they presented these plans to the public in extremely sanitized form, that's interesting shit. Although I do have to wonder what the hell this sequence is, because like after this, we find out that Tifa and Barrett did at least witness the meteor part. But then this Sephiroth appearance here, they didn't see. This appears to be more cloud hallucination stuff.
Yeah, once you start getting like the staticky flash forwards, I think that's when he's starting to hallucinate.
So, like, what is Sephiroth doing here?
Fucking with them, I guess.
Yeah, he's fucking with the VR.
How is he fucking with the
69th
VR?
floor, nice.
Well, all right, so Lewis, when you're messing with the composite cables and out of curiosity, you put the white wire into the yellow slot?
Oh. Yeah. That explains
Bummer, my
everything.
man, how you doing?
So what you're telling me is that Sephiroth stuck his hair into the yellow slot.
Yes.
Okay.
No, his sword.
No, it couldn't possibly have been.
Dun dun
Crazy ass
dun.
thing made me want to puke. And not just because of the presentation, but the content too. Ought to come with a warning. That ain't for
Yeah, the
kids.
Tiki Room is really.
I think
gone
he
off the
just
edge.
watched a 2-hour video essay of why your favorite cartoon sucks.
What was that about?
Like I said, nothing you should show a kid.
Poor Barrett. Now his recommendations are going to be full of that shit.
Oh yeah, you watch
you watch
one
one
video
th-
about
one-
Shinra being bad, and then suddenly you've got 75 million recommended videos about how Shinra, more like save everyone.
More
Ra.
like Sinra.
Yeah.
Got him.